All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of the Master video podcast. I am so happy you are here today. We are going to have an amazing conversation, and our topic for today is playful expansion. So get ready to have some fun, to play and create as we expand into all that we are. So I also want to welcome my co-host, my co-creator here, Sarah Elizabeth. Hello.
Hi, Sarah. What a
I'm
fun topic today. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while.
Me too. And you absolutely embody playful expansion in so many ways. So no one better to have this conversation with today. So the council tells us that we have been taking this human experience far too serious for far too long, and it's time to really play and create and be all that you are in this energy that is playful, uplifting, positive, hopeful, curious, and where you really focus on what brings you joy and allowing that to expand you into so much more. So, what does playful expansion mean for you, and how does it show up in your life?
Oh my goodness. It means so many things. And sometimes it means playing with something that looks like it's gone wrong, something that doesn't feel playful at all, and allowing that to be a game and playing with the universe. But the common theme always, no matter what the set of circumstances are or how we might personally judge them in our experience as desired or not, um, it always shows up as a fun exchange with the universe, with all the co-creators around us. It shows up in simple signs. It shows up in conversations. It shows up in the things that you can't pay for and couldn't pay anyone to orchestrate. And no matter what, you couldn't try to orchestrate it anyway, those divine rendezvous. And then, we have a saying in our world, that it's growing pains, right? So expansion is growth, but it doesn't have to be painful. We make that choice. We get to choose. We have the opportunity. And there's nothing wrong with choosing that. But for me, playful expansion is really choosing consciously to allow whatever the expansion is to be that playful, fun adventure. What about you, Sarah? How does that show up in your life, and what does it mean for you?
Well, years ago, I heard this poem from Hafiz, and it just to me is sort of the perfect illustration of what we're talking about today. And I want to share it with you guys. If you've never heard this, you will probably want to Google it and check it out at some point, but it's called Tripping Over Joy. And it says, what is the difference between your experience of existence and that of a saint? The saint knows that the spiritual path is a sublime chess game with God, and that the beloved has just made a fantastic move, that the saint is now continually tripping over joy and bursting out in laughter and saying, I surrender. Whereas, my dear, I'm afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves. And when I read that, I went, something inside of me knows, yes, yes, yes. The saint is tripping over joy, bursting out in laughter and saying, I surrender. And I know when I read that, it was at a time where I did not think the beloved God had made such a fantastic move in my life. But I look at it now and I see that really, truly, there are not 1,000 serious moves left in your life. There is opening and allowing and embracing your perfection, your joy, and allowing yourself to expand in the most playful ways possible. So,
Oh
as
my
we get
gosh.
started, just want to welcome everybody here. Sarah, I know you as well. We just want to welcome everyone who is joining us today, either on this live stream via YouTube or in the future. You are here, and we are so happy you're here, and we know you're a part of this conversation as well. So thank you for being here. Sarah, I'll turn it back to you.
I was going to say, oh my goodness, that is the perfect quote and the perfect way to say it. I find myself frequently laughing and saying, all right, universe, what do you got? You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't I didn't think I wanted that. That doesn't look so good. Or that's a little puzzling. What do you got? What game is this? And let it be a game. And I love just playing games with people around me. And someone brilliantly said in our chat, no kidding about taking things too seriously. It's almost like something big and serious has been happening on our planet for the last year and a half.
Yeah. Something big and beautiful is happening. And yet it's always a reminder that we are navigating through creation, and we can do so in a way that is expansive and fun and playful. And we can navigate through change in a way that is difficult and a struggle, and where we hold ourselves in this place where we take things so seriously. It's this reminder that most of the time, whatever we think is such a big deal in this moment isn't going to matter a month from now, a year from now. And just playing this little game with yourself, the council has recently told us we are playing the master's game of life here. And when we see life as a game, and that this is just another fantastic move that is going to elevate you into more that is possible for you. And so I know I used to take my human experience really, really seriously, thinking that, oh my gosh, what else do I have to do? What else do I have to accomplish? I got to work harder. Always on this hamster wheel of thinking that there's more to be done and it's so serious and like we can get this wrong. And I go back so many times to this awareness of why we are really here. And if I am to sum it up in one word, the deepest truth that I can feel of why I am here and why we are here is for the expansion of your soul. That's why you're here. You're here for the expansion of your soul. You're here to express all that you really are. And you're here to choose the experiences you want to have for you. When we talk about you being the creator of your reality, it means in this moment, no matter what is going on, you can choose to go into a higher perspective and see it from a much grander viewpoint and know that this is just yet another fantastic move. Everything is always working out for you. Everything is always happening for you. And there is an easy, effortless, harmonious way through everything. Now, most of us have been through a lot of stuff in our life, whether it's the death of a loved one, a divorce, debt, disease, those types of things. And when we're really in it and when we're experiencing it and we think this thing is happening for us, we go into the heaviness, we go into the density. It becomes difficult, it becomes overwhelming. We really think this is so serious and such a big deal. And yet, sometimes the easiest thing to do in those moments is accept what is and then bring yourself into a higher perspective, back to your innocence, back to your truth, back into really allowing yourself to expand through this experience. Once you get there, once you get to a higher perspective and you feel a little bit better, you realize that there can be a joyful, peaceful, harmonious way through everything. And we remember to not take this all so serious, that we've taken this human experience far too serious for far too long. And it's time to play and create and have fun the way we intended to. And so, in the spirit of fun and playfulness, how do you, when you are going through some sort of situation that may feel like, wow, I've got to get this done, or I feel overwhelmed, or this isn't quite the way I wanted it to be? How do you go from that particular state to elevating your perspective and coming back into alignment with allowing expansion to be playful and joyful for you, Sarah Elizabeth?
That's a beautiful question to ask. And I was going to say that you said you used to take your life seriously sometimes, and I still do sometimes. Let's be honest, things look serious sometimes. This reality around us is so real and vivid, and we want it that way that it looks serious. So when I get overwhelmed, the first thing I do is stop and breathe. because I can't be playful. I can't even come close to playful. There's no path to playful if I'm not breathing and opening up in that way. And the council has told us many times, not one, 3 deep breaths. And there's a lot of power in that. So, yeah. And the key really for me is catching it early. And if you can catch it a little earlier, your thoughts haven't run away with you. The overwhelm hasn't run away with you, whatever it is that looks so, or that might be able to look so serious hasn't run away, and you can slow it down. And so that's another key for me. I have to breathe and then acknowledge, where am I in this process? Where am I in this process? And where can I actually go from here without falling flat on my face? Because if I am genuinely overwhelmed and I try to push through, everything's going to anybody else here ever notice how technology is just really, really responsive to your energy and your vibration, and everything will start messing up if you're trying to push through on something you're working on a computer or a phone, and you're really not in alignment with it. You're just forcing it, you're overwhelmed, or whatever the energy might be. For me, that can be the key that tells me now's not the time. And then I do my best to be honest with myself. Now isn't the time, and that's okay. Now, it might be that I did catch it early enough and I was able to acknowledge and go, okay, I can do this. No problem. I just need to take this into chunks, right? Like what do I really feel like I need to do here, right? And what's the intention for me? If I can bring something back down to the essence and the intention of what it is, because it might be, I need to create this, this, and this by this deadline. But if the intention is for certain communications to go out or for certain things to be completed or whatever it is, what if there's a divine timing that's different than that? Because I can't tell you how many times someone has said, actually, let's change the priority here and shift directions. And I do my best to follow my inspiration. And when I've known that something is clearly inspired and I shift with that and run with that, even though it looks like I should be doing something else, almost without fail, I can see why later that came to be. So breathe, take stock of where you are, evaluate. Are you really in, or that's what I do, evaluate. Where am I? And what can I do? Can I take a walk? Can I play a game? How? And that's the other thing. When I'm ready for whatever the thing is, and so it doesn't have to be, a creative thing that I'm feeling overwhelmed by. It could just be general life, whatever the situation might be. It might be that you witnessed something out and about or had a conversation with someone that didn't sit well, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you're experiencing that seems a little, can you make it a game? How can I make it a game? Now, I have to be in a reasonable state in order to turn it into a game, because otherwise it doesn't work out. And I have funny things that I say to myself sometimes, little key phrases, whatever it might be for you, to trigger and laugh at yourself. Oh man, I'm just riding around on a broom right now, or whatever it is, So I'm on a tirade. Everybody stay out of the way. And then I can start to laugh at myself about it, because I know the momentum's gotten away from me. And so I can lighten the mood that way. And then just make it a game. But I think the biggest key is to do that when it's not hard, so that you're playing games all the time. And then the fun, the playfulness comes much more naturally. What about you, Sarah? What do you do? I know some of the things, but I bet you've got something up your sleeve I haven't heard before.
I do. And first, we have to give a special shout out to our sound crew, Sarah's beloved dog, Johnny, who in the background is breathing and reminding us to breathe. And every time you said breathe and 3 deep breaths, his breathing got deeper. It was so perfect. So thanks, Johnny. And I was having this moment. Yes, he is. I was having this moment, so many people in our community love animals and we have animals. And it's like, let that be a little reminder to you when you hear your dog breathing deeply, or you hear your cat breathing deeply, or your child is sleeping and breathing deeply. Let that be a reminder to you, even if things are going really, really, really well, to take 3 conscious, deep breaths. When I take the first one, it's like, this breathing thing doesn't work. And then I take the second deep breath and I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, I feel a little bit better. But by the time I take the third deep breath, it's like, oh, there you are. Like, there I am again. So that's something that really, really, really helps me. And set little triggers in your life when you hear your dog breathing deeply, when you hear your animals, your cat or your child or anything, just let something be a reminder to you to breathe deeply. The little game I play with myself a lot is I literally say out loud, stop it, stop it, stop it. Like, I know my brain is just like taking over, and my human is like trying to figure it out and rehearsing all of these conversations in my head and just all this chatter. I'm just like, stop it, stop it, stop it. And there's something about saying that out loud to me that just makes me smile eventually. I might have to say it 20 times, but I do say it out loud. And sometimes it happens in front of other people, but I'm just like, stop it, stop it, stop it in my mind, just trying to get my mind to stop, like creating this struggle that just doesn't need to be there. Remember that this is a game and you can have fun with it. And so that really works for me. And when we, I feel guided to just go back to this word expansion for a minute, because I think it's a key piece of answering this question we're discussing. What is that feeling of expansion? I said that I truly believe that the reason that we're here is for the expansion of our soul. And that to me feels like freedom. And when I think about expansion, I'm moving into this place where I'm allowing the divine will and the divine right time and the divine plan into my moment, into my consciousness, into my force field of consciousness. And it is not a passive sort of surrender. It's a intentional turning it over to God source feeling for me. When I come into this place of expansion, when I really feel that freedom of my soul, it is absolutely allowing. It's my human allowing that grander part of me, my soul, source, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it. It's my human allowing that part of me to be in this moment and to guide me to the next perfect step, and to allow my human to then just allow the highest and best good to come to me. And I have, a particular situation in my life right now that it's like, I want it to be a certain way as soon as possible. And I really, really, I want it. And as much as I feel that, I keep finding myself stepping back and letting it go. Not letting it go in a passive sort of way, but turning it over and allowing what is in the highest and best good in my life and in the life of everyone else involved in this beautiful orchestration. And so sometimes we think that, and when I say I used to take my life really serious, I used to think that I have to set big goals and take massive action and work really hard and make it happen, right? This pushing, always, always, always trying to accomplish something, that's the way I often took my life really serious. I've got to fix myself. I've got to work on myself. I've got to transform myself. I've got to accomplish more. I've got to do more. And when I practice this stepping back and allowing what is in the highest and best good, I find that the path unfolds easy, effortlessly, and in the most harmonious way. where I've seen different times in my life where I was taking it way too serious and creating a lot of trauma and drama for myself that wasn't necessary. I was trying to push something to happen. You know, I had a particular agenda. I thought that's what it has to be, or that's how I want it to be. And sometimes we get to that place and we go, oh, wow, well, now there's something better that I couldn't have even thought of. And wow, I wish I wouldn't have pushed so hard and struggled so much. And so playfulness was not really a word in my vocabulary until the last few years of really embracing the wisdom of the council in my life. And so play, I remember hearing the word play and I was like, And from the very beginning of these messages from the council and the wisdom of the council that came through, they said, you know, the most important things are to play, rest, and drink a lot of water. And I was like, okay, well, I can drink a lot of water and I can rest, but play, like, how's play going to help me? Was kind of how I have fun. You know, that really wasn't part of my mindset anymore. It was accomplishment and success and personal development and you know, realizing those types of things. And so I had to really come back into a place of innocence. And we may have heard this word before, but it's like, what really is innocence? It's the same as true creation, right? True creation has no agenda, has no agenda. Innocence has no agenda. You're just in the moment, in the inspiration, in the energy, allowing, being fully present, allowing that fun, joyful, happy, playful energy. And I also noticed the more I allow this, the more I find it's okay to be silly, to laugh at things, to just not take this so serious, you know, and even just in a format like this, where, you know, it's really important to both of us that we create the best possible experience here for anyone and everyone who's going to watch this whenever it is. And yet I find that more and more I go, oh, okay, well, we can laugh and we can play and we can have fun, and it can be just as meaningful and just as inspiring, and maybe more so when we let it be playful and fun. And so when you're in the grocery store, when you're at the gas station, when you're, you know, running errands, when you're on the phone with your family and friends, let it be fun and playful. I was at the gas station yesterday and I was pulling in and it was kind of busy and there was only one pump available. So I had to pull in and back up my car. And I did. And I ended up backing up right next to this car that's exactly the same as my car. And the guy got out and he's like, yeah, I just decided to wait for the next pump. You know, you backed up in there. And we just started laughing and kind of talking and just this completely spontaneous, playful experience with someone else at the gas station. I left there and I was just uplifted and I felt so joyful and I had a smile on my face. And it's like, there are playmates everywhere if you are ready to play. If you want to play and have some fun in your life, the universe source God will deliver to you playmates around every corner, in your family, with your friends, your business partners, your business associates, people at the gas station, people at the grocery store. Your divine playmates will show up to play with you when that begins to be what you're focused on.
That's perfect. I love it. And I think that focus is really important. And it's just to let yourself have fun. And the beautiful thing is, you may not get to play with everyone. Not everyone along your path is probably going to be ready to play with you, but you can play with that too. Oh, where's the next one? It's like a treasure hunt, right? Like make life a treasure game and really just relax. And I mean, do your best to relax. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it could be hard to relax, but you said something really key when you said, you know, they weren't the words that you used, but it's really, you have to release control. Allow yourself to be surprised instead of knowing everything that's going to happen and trying to be, you know, pulling all the pieces together yourself. The universe, God, source, the divine, choose your word or don't choose a word. That's my favorite thing. Like there's not, what do you call that? There's not a good word for that. I don't think. I like the universe. It works well for me, but whatever works for anyone is perfect. the perspective there is far more expansive, and in the theme of expansion, expansive than any one of us and our single focused human experience as we intended it to be could imagine. And they can see all the things. They can see the pattern. They can see the treasure hunt. They can lead you along the way with all these little things and acknowledge playing a game with the universe all day, every day. I love to, songs that show up in my experience. I was walking the other day and a song that I wouldn't have thought I would have fun with, I had a lot of fun with. I was walking on Sunday morning and we passed by a church, a local church. And there was a song coming out of it that I knew and hadn't heard for, let's say, many years, but I knew it right away. And I listened to it in a new way. And that was really fun. And it was a really interesting way for the universe to play and exchange and communicate. Now, usually the songs are things that pop in my head or something that I hear, walking through a store on their radio or whatever it is, one little line, something fun that makes me want to dance. I find that the music is a really key way that I communicate with the universe, and the universe communicates back to me because it's something that means something to me as a longtime dancer, especially. And like the butterflies, the hummingbirds that I see around the area as I'm out walking. And so I love it. But people show up to play. They love to play, and not everybody, but that's fun too. And I love creating games spontaneously. And I'll say to my partner, let's play a game. He says, what kind of game do you want to play? I'm like, I don't know. Let's make one up. And so whatever we're doing, we'll just kind of volley back and forth in a game that has no real rules. We're just enjoying playing through the energy of whatever it is as we're doing whatever we're doing. And I find that to be a great deal of fun. But it's that release of control. Some might call it surrender, but the council recently said to us, we would call it allowing. That floating. And that is a key when you said, what does expansion feel like? For me, it's that flow, and it's a spaciousness. It's not a certainty as far as knowing every tiny little detail of what's coming, but it's having space for what's to come.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I love that. And what came to me, as I'm listening to you speak, I just saw you as like the little girl within you that is so curious and so full of wonder and spontaneity, and everything's a game. To a kid, things are a game. You make up your own games. You're playing make believe. You're dressing up. You're making sandcastles. And one of the questions that came is, what is it? How did you play when you were a kid, Sarah Elizabeth? What do you remember about playing when you were a kid?
So funny that you say this, because it was probably 2 months ago, maybe 3 now, that I was like, that's how I want to live my life. I want to live my life the way I did as a little kid. And I did all kinds of things. I ran around outside in the yard. I made up games. I made up shows. I made up, my siblings or my cousins or whoever was around, or just me by myself. Maybe there was an audience for this thing, or captive family Christmas audiences and things like that. Oh my gosh. But we were always creating something. And it didn't matter what it was. It could be a sandcastle in the backyard. It could be a fun, way to play on the swings. It could be anything. And it was genuinely inspired, and there was almost never an end point, no objective. And I thought, that's what I'm reaching for.
Creating just for the joy of creating.
Yeah. And childlike awe and wonder. You said it, it's that curiosity, awe, and wonder. Mm-hmm. Those are things that are really innocence. Those words all go together to me.
Yeah. Yeah. think back to, you make me laugh with the Christmas pageant programs we used to put on for our family, because I remember this, but I've also seen the picture many times where as kids we went and got Tupperware containers and we we wrapped like Christmas, what do you call that? The garlands around it, and put them on our head with sheets on. And we played these little, stories out, but like with a Tupperware container on our heads with tinsel on it and, a towel over us. And that was playing, right? I remember hula hooping. Like I remember thinking that that was like the coolest thing ever, is like the hula hoop, right? But just being outside and playing. I used to dress up my dog with little costumes and things. you know, think about this though. We just played for the sake of playing, created for the sake of creating. The council tells us that playing is creating, creating is playing, right? So if you painted a picture just for the fun of it and you gave it to your mom or you gave it to your friend, right? You were just doing it out of the joy of creating, right? You might have drawn a picture and then wrote a little story and then gone and made a sandcastle and then, whatever it was, you were just creating, so long as it felt fun, so long as it felt good. And then if it didn't anymore, you went on to create and play with the next thing that did feel good. And then think about this, right? So this is how we experienced life, right? Playing and creating and having fun for the joy of it. And then someone said, you need to start taking this life way more serious. You need to figure out what you're going to do with your life. You need to do this and you need to do that, right? And then we take on all of this to-dos, all of the things we're supposed to do and should do and have to do. And then I look back at the next chapter that came in my life, maybe going to school and getting good grades and getting into college or getting a good job. Now all of a sudden you have all these responsibilities, right? You got to pay the bills and you got to show up to work and you've got to do all this stuff, right? And we take that all on and we get so far from that innocent little boy and girl within us that knew all along that this life experience was supposed to be joyful and fun for you. And so whenever it is that you remember that and come back to that and begin to find a harmonious balance with, being fully in this world, having a home or having a nice place that you live, having a car, having the stuff, yes, it's a great privilege that we can pay for running water and electricity and cell phones and internet connections and to have a car to go where we want to go and to live in a place we want to live. We are blessed to be able to choose those experiences in our life, but it doesn't mean we have to abandon our innocence and our playfulness and our joy. This theme of playful expansion is so fortuitous in my experience right now, and you're part of that, Sarah Elizabeth, and our entire team. But I'm living a dream come true right now as I feel that through sharing this work and this wisdom of the council, which is my joy, which is something that I just love so deeply. I look at all that has been created. I look at how joyful and fun it was to create that. And I had the absolute realization that for me, playful expansion is really all that's left. It's the only way. And you mentioned something a little bit earlier in our conversation, which is so perfect. We were on a call yesterday with a channeling group that is inside of our master's class community. And one of them was saying that she's in the process of making a dress, sewing a wedding dress for her daughter-in-law, I believe it was. And she said, I really want to do this, but, I feel this pressure to get it done. And it was just the silliest vision, but I saw like Cinderella, that part in Cinderella. Animation is so awesome. Where she's making her dress for the ball, but the birds and the the mice are the ones like sewing and singing, and it just all comes together so magically and miraculously in the most harmonious way, because you can see the spirit, you can see the fun, you can see the playfulness. And I consider myself a very grounded, responsible person. I truly believe that none of this wisdom matters if we can't really implement it in our life and integrate it and live our best life. And yet it's okay to play in these experiences using your imagination. Let yourself get into that energy, and you'll find that things get done so much more efficiently in divine right time and in really harmonious ways. And I think I'm probably one of the people in Sarah Elizabeth's life who's like, we need to do this, let's do that, and then we change it. And she still loves me, thank you. But it's like, when there are times in my life that I've tried to push something and make it happen, like something I need to write or something I need to create, and I go to do it, and it just feels like a struggle, I have learned that there's a reason for that. It means the energy is not there. And the reason it doesn't feel good to me is because I'm trying to push and force the energy into something when clearly it's not there. And yet I may go, oh, but I have to get this done in the next 2 days, or I have to get this done by that timeline. And when I try to push it in that, it just doesn't have the energy. And I noticed that if I just stop, either all of a sudden I wake up the next morning and it just flows and it's perfect and I love it and it feels good and it was playful and joyful when I created it, or something comes in where I didn't need to really do that thing that I thought I had to do. And I go, oh, well, gosh, I just spent 2 days trying to force that to happen. And wow, look, now there's something better, or the energy shifted another direction. So that's another way of really being aware and allowing the light and the energy to guide you. If it doesn't feel playful, if it doesn't feel joyful, then allow the divine right time to present itself to you when it does feel joyful and it does feel playful. That may mean you've got to change your perspective a bit. That may mean you've got to go back to some of these things that we talked about, like taking a deep breath, go for a walk in nature. Lots of times I realize it's because I'm not in the energetic space to fully allow the inspiration to flow through me. And trying to push and force it to flow through me never, ever, ever works. So go do the things that are fun for you. Go do the things that bring you joy. Go do the things that bring you into a state of peace and harmony within yourself. And you might be very surprised how all of a sudden the inspiration comes in and that thing that you are creating becomes really easy and effortless and harmonious when you get yourself into a better feeling place.
That is for sure. And we can laugh all the time. First of all, you said, I'm a pretty serious and grounded person. Well, the team likes to pick on Sarah that if she wants to be serious, that she's picked the wrong team, because we're pretty silly on a regular basis. And anyone who has joined what we affectionately refer to as the pregame show of any event or master's class calls, any of the courses, and, a one-off event, it doesn't matter. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what the conversation is going to be, but we really like to have fun. And we also maneuver through our creations together in the same way, because things do change, inspirations change, things shift. And by the same token, any one of us can say to any of the other of us, I know that was on my plate for my things that were supposed to be done on whatever timeline. And the energy just, it like the council would say, it was like trudging up a hill with the big heavy boots on and the backpack full of boulders. You don't need to do that. And we always give each other grace and look at how we can support one another for whatever it might be. So that's one thing I wanted to say. Also, we're talking about all of this, and there's a question in our chat here about how to know what your life's purpose is. And then there's another comment from someone who's taught me a new word, which is not usually an easy thing to do, but I love it. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Autotelic, having a purpose in and not apart from itself. containing its own meaning or purpose, deriving meaning and purpose from within. So I would say your purpose is whatever brings you joy, allows you to have fun, and whatever it is. The council recently said to us, very recently said to us, your purpose is not as specific as you want to make it out to be. Did you come here with intention? Yes, but it is not specific in the way that you want to make it. And when I read this word and this definition, I remembered performing, and any performance I've ever done as a dancer or an aerialist, it doesn't matter. I want to leave it all on the floor, leave it all on the stage. Give everything you have right there and let that be self-contained. Whatever it is, right then and right there, which could be applied to a rehearsal or just, creative expression of movement. Just go and move or anything else. But for me in that realm, like just leave it all on the floor. Just go and enjoy and let the purpose not be to create something amazing or to get the next gig or to do the this or that or whatever it is. Just let it be contained right here, right now in this present moment. So I wanted to share that. And I'm sure you have something to add about knowing your purpose.
Oh, beautiful. I'm totally in alignment with everything that you just said. You are your purpose. Plain and simple. You are your purpose. And, we can go into some other things that, the council has shared over the years of our purpose, but ultimately you are your purpose. And I do believe it's whatever is joyful for you is your purpose, whatever is fun for you is your purpose, whatever inspires you, whatever you're curious about, what you love, who you love, it's all your purpose. And I've had some experiences lately where I realized my tears were also my purpose. I have a experience going on in my family right now that's really emotional. A health issue with someone in our family, and it's caused. I know it's always happening for us, but it's caused a lot of emotion, a lot of change, a lot of things that everyone's navigating through, and I had a moment after watching like one of my favorite movies, and I was so inspired, and I had like tears moving down my face because I was so moved by this movie. I found the tears just didn't stop. And I realized in that moment that I was conscious and aware of the emotion I felt, how moved I was by the emotion. And I realized that the deep feeling of sadness was my purpose in that moment, was really feeling that. Nothing was wrong. Nothing needed to change, but my human just needed to express that love that I was feeling, that it was love, but it kind of felt like sadness. And yet in allowing myself to experience that, and like, this is my purpose right now to feel this, it shifted a whole lot of stuff for me and for some of the other people in my family. I also have had experiences where, sometimes my purpose is just showing up in my truth, even though I don't have the answer and I don't know how to fix it. In another area of my life, there's some disharmony between other people. And I've really been practicing staying conscious, staying present, seeing the highest good, holding the highest potential, know what's happening for us, it'll be this or that or something better. And I had an experience where I kind of thought that some things went wrong, right? And I just went, in this moment, like, where's the energy? What do I feel guided to do? And I went over and had a conversation with one of those people, and I just allowed myself to be really vulnerable. And something shifted in that moment within me, within the experience of reality that I was in. And so you are your purpose always. You are always your purpose, wherever you go, whatever you're doing. I find for myself, the more loving and more conscious I am as I'm living my purpose, the more I really feel aligned with my purpose. even if there's a lot of emotion in it, even if you don't know how it's going to work out or any of that. It's the level of love and consciousness you bring to your purpose that gives its meaning. What we focus on and the meaning we give it is so important. So when we continue to say, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what my purpose is, we continue to draw to us an experience of feeling like we're separate from our purpose. And when you feel separate from your purpose, you feel like I'm not enough, I'm not doing this right, I don't know. And yet, this really simple thing, because I was one of those people who had read every book on what is my purpose, the purpose driven life, purpose, purpose, purpose. What's my purpose? And when I really came into the realization, you are your purpose. Your purpose is not a job. It's not one particular relationship. It's not one particular thing. It's not an amount of money. It's not a box you check. It's not a certain plaque or award. You are your purpose. Now, council tells us that, again, our purpose for being here is expansion, expansion of our soul, expansion of consciousness, expansion to really express all that you are in every moment. You are either allowing all that you are, or you're doubting and denying all that you are. Usually I look at when I felt like I wasn't living my purpose, it's because I was denying myself the ability to express myself in a way that was truly aligned with my truth. So when I was in the corporate world and I had a really good life, but I felt like, gosh, something's missing. Like, there's got to be more to this, right? Like, I know I have some greater calling. I don't know what that is. I was feeling all of that while also trying to be what everybody else wanted me to be. And then wondering why I felt like I didn't know my purpose, because I was allowing things outside of me to define my purpose for me. When we're allowing things outside of us to define your purpose for you, you're not going to feel very connected to your purpose. So practicing every day, just, am I really expressing who I really am? Or am I doubting, denying, and holding back because I'm letting something outside of me give my life purpose and meaning instead of that coming from within? The third thing that the council says is expansion, expression, and experiences, or exploring. You're here to have the experiences you want to have for you. And yet again, when you're doing what you think you should, instead of really having the experiences you want to have for you without any judgment. We were on our channeling group call with our master's class members yesterday, as I mentioned. And we were talking about, in this sacred circle, we were talking about what each person wanted to create. And some of those things were a soulmate relationship. Some of those things were more joy and love in their life. Some of those things were, a platform for sharing their message with the world. And someone said, I built a house years ago and I built this big, beautiful garage. And now I want a beautiful sports car to go in that garage. Don't deny yourself the experiences you want to have. Spirituality, in my opinion, is not denying the physical and material part of this human experience we're in. It's not giving your power to those things outside of you, but you can have the experiences you want to have for you, whatever that is. Now, you might have those experiences and realize that that inspired you into greater expansion or becoming more of who you are. But let yourself have the experiences you want to have. You are here on this magnificent journey, a grand adventure. Explore and have fun. And when you are your purpose and you bring that into everything that you experience, your whole life begins to open up and get so much richer, so much more meaningful, so much more loving, so much more joyful. And you'll find that you don't really have that question anymore. What's my purpose? Because you already are your purpose. And then you're bringing purpose and meaning to everything in your life. That's my definition of purpose.
It's really, really beautiful. I love it. And as you were talking, it reminded me of what you were saying earlier, that at some point in our lives, whether it was spoken or not, most of us have someone who says, okay, now what are you going to do? What do you want to be when you grow up, or whatever it is? You're not taking anything seriously here, or whatever it might be. But one of the questions I actually use, I said I say funny things to myself. One of the things I use to sort of interrupt my thought pattern, if I'm taking things too seriously or if things look like they're out of whack, I'll say, what am I doing with my life? And it makes me laugh. And because it makes me laugh, it works, because it puts it in perspective for me. Now, everybody has to find something that works well for them, but like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm having fun. I'm living, I'm enjoying. It doesn't matter. It's not as important as it looks. It's not as important as other people might have said it was, even, So I think this is fantastic. And as we're coming close to the end of our broadcast today, I want to make sure that we get to share a little bit with everyone, because you have quite the fun experience unfolding. I mean, we all have it as a team, of course, but you talk about playful expansion. This is the perfect example right now in this moment, because it didn't come from something that you were trying to create. It's something that you had in mind, and it just showed up at the perfect time. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience from your perspective and its unfolding, Sarah?
Yeah. So I get to live, and am living, an absolute dream come true experience for me right now. And I have to actually say that the inspiration for it really started many years ago. And I saw myself, sitting, having this conversation, like a conversation with masters. This word masters, it's not about being master over anything except your own life. And it's not your human being the master of your life. It's that grander part of you, that your higher self, the part of you that has never forgotten who you really are. It's that level of mastery by which you live your life. And I've always deeply resonated with that word. And so these conversations with masters have always really inspired me. Back to Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, watching her have incredible conversations with amazing spiritual teachers. Things like that have always inspired me. And I just went, yes, 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 I want to have that experience. Didn't know really what it looked like. And then a few years ago, I had an amazing opportunity to meet Mike Dooley. And if you don't know who Mike Dooley is, Mike Dooley is a New York Times bestselling author. He's written many, many, many books. Just an absolutely incredible spiritual teacher and personal development leader. If you don't know him, look him up. His website is tut.com. But we met in a very spontaneous and amazing way. And the day I met him, I sat there and this vision came to me that I was sitting there having this conversation where he was asking questions of the channel of the council, which I channel and bring through the wisdom of the council. And I thought, oh my God, like that's the biggest dream that I could dream for myself in that moment, was to imagine this experience, this moment where Mike, an incredible master himself, was having a conversation with the collective of ascended master beings that I channel called the Council. And so that was a few years ago, and we became friends. He had some sessions with the council and amazing conversations. He brought these awesome questions, and I just kept feeling into it. And we were kind of laughing, Sarah Elizabeth, because we few weeks ago didn't really know what was going to be on our schedule for August. We're like, I don't know, let's see how it unfolds. And you're like, we're making the newsletter. We got to, get out there what we have for August. I'm like, I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else. And out of the blue, in the most inspired, perfect, amazing way, Mike's like, let's do an event where I interview the council. Let's call it The Dream, The Journey, Eternity, and God. And let's do a free live broadcast. And I'm like, oh, yes, 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 that's a dream come true. And within a matter of a few days, it was all created, announced, and it will be live August 5th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. You can find out more at sarahland.com. We can put the link to it as well in this video. It'll be a live 90-minute channeled free workshop of this incredible conversation between the amazing masters with Mike Dooley and his interview of the council. So please join us for that. You can find out a lot more at sarahland.com. We'll put the link in here, but it really is a dream come true. And so I'll tell you, it's like when I envisioned it, I thought we would be in the same room. I saw it a little bit differently. And this is just even better, right? It may not take the exact form. It usually is something better. And that's what I'm reminded of. So I'm really super excited about that. And we're also going to be announcing a really incredible opportunity on that live free broadcast. If you yourself want an introduction to how you can connect with your own guides and open your own channel to receive the incredible wisdom that is always available to all of us. So stay tuned for that. And when we have that, we can also add that link here to this page. So thank you. Yeah, it's a dream come true. It's playful expansion. I feel it expanding me in so many ways. I feel it expanding our team in so many beautiful and amazing ways. And I'm just so grateful for that. And every part of it feels playful and fun. So I love the council says they bring through this awareness of something. We start to focus on it. Then we have an experience. And once we have that experience, you know, it really becomes our truth and it just expands from there. And so how fun is that?
I think the most fun thing for me is to watch you just stay so clear about how it doesn't matter to you, that you're not looking for something to come out of it. You're just excited. You're so eager and curious and in awe and wonder and in complete innocence around that conversation and everything about it and just playing your way. And we were talking yesterday about you being the dreamer in that title.
The title's actually The Dream, The Journey,
You
Eternity, and God. And
You did.
Sarah tells me, like, I thought it was awesome. She's like, do you ever notice though that you always say the dreamer, the journey, eternity, and God? And she's like, I think you're the dreamer. And I was like, I am. This is fun. And I really genuinely mean that. Yeah, there's so much power. And I didn't always by any means know this. There's so much power in not needing or wanting anything. And I would have said, or my human might have said, well, how are you going to get more then? And how are you going to get what you need if you don't want and need and you don't clearly tell the universe what you want and need? And oh my gosh, the very, very, very best things in my life have come totally out of the blue. Meeting you, meeting our other team member, the people and the relationships in my life, the opportunities in my life, the things that took me to another level in my life, brought greater joy and love than I ever could have imagined, all came out of the blue. They weren't things I was attached to. I need it. I have to have it. I'm going to force it and make it happen. They came out of the blue in the most easy, effortless, harmonious way. So, I absolutely love this conversation with you, Sarah Elizabeth. I love you. I'm so happy to be playing this sublime, divine chess game with God, with you.
The master's game
fantastic
of life,
move, fantastic move, fantastic move. If you want to look up that poem, it's Tripping Over Joy by Hafiz, Hafiz, I think. Anyway, closing words, Sarah Elizabeth.
Have some fun, guys. There are some of you who are definitely playing with us here today on the chat. We hope that you'll have fun enjoying the event with Mike Dooley on August the 5th. The link is there for you. Like Sarah said, we'll put it up in the description of the video replay too, but it's there in the chat for you already. Click it, reserve your spot, be ready to go, put it on your calendar. I know I have. I'm very excited about that. But just play a game. And it was the Sunday channeled message. It was a very powerful phrase for me personally when they said, "You are playing the master's game of life." And your Huffy's quote couldn't be more perfect, Sarah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Sarah Elizabeth. We also have several free resources at sarahlandon.com, and probably a written version of that quote you just said will be up at some time in the future from our um, master's class channeled call on July 18th, which will probably be titled under free resources, The Master's Game of Life. So you can find that sarahlandon.com, go under free resources. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Have a magic